Good morning to the house. What's going on, everybody?
Hello, everyone. Hello.
You are
Hello.
everybody. Oh, hopefully.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh,
A, I didn't print a rundown.
nope.
B, I did not change our keyword.
Oh,
30 seconds. And the rundown won't load. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. Show's easy today.
all right. Hello, friends.
Brian had the rundown right anyway. We'll give you a quick 15. Give you a hot 15 on Kings Pels. And then I got takes on Taylor Swift.
Swifties. Kyle, I'm calling Kyle a Swiftie now.
All right, here we go. Oh, good morning. The vibes are great on a Friday. Huge Friday here in Sacramento. I'm Kyle Madsen. That's James Ham. Tortured Poets Department is out. Taylor Swift's most recent studio album. That's what we're breaking down all day. A huge day in Sac.
We're becoming Swifties. We're having T-shirts made. I think we're all hopped up. So I did. It's Donut Friday. I brought in donuts like always, not realizing that everyone in the building is not here today. They're out doing like a river cleanup, right?
Yeah. They're out as part of our one thing.
One
here
thing.
at Odyssey.
Yep.
If a million people do one thing, we've done a million things. So park cleanup is Odyssey's one thing.
And Kyle and I do not get to participate in the park cleanup, even though it pains us to not participate because they schedule these things every time right in the middle of our show. So
Yeah,
high five to Kyle.
No, I'd be out there if we get like literally. If our show started at noon, I'd be out there for a little bit.
Okay,
but we're here, and there's nothing like.
Now we're just here with 2 dozen donuts.
Okay, here's the other thing. If this was the middle of June,
oh yeah,
and not the let's see, quick math, 8.5 hours before the Kings tip off to play for their playoff lives in New Orleans, a team that they're 0-5 against this year.
Mm-hmm.
If this was the middle of June and there's just not a lot happening, then yeah, maybe we throw a best of show together and we go out there and we're part of Odyssey's one thing.
Yeah.
Alas, we weren't throwing you a best of show on the day of
the biggest day of the year for the Kings.
Biggest game of the year for the Kings until hopefully until the next one.
Yeah.
This is certainly the biggest game of the year to this point. And it tips off at 6:30 tonight. It's Smoothie King Arena. Smoothie King, it's so bad. In New Orleans. I have a question.
Uh-oh.
I'm asking. Because I don't believe I've been given the permission structure by this team to do this.
Okay.
We have time and time again gotten where, oh, hey, really good game, really good performance. Oh, they coming around a little bit, and then they face plant. But I kind of think they're winning tonight.
I thought you were going to hit me with a hard-hitting question, Kyle.
No.
Like, if you were a Smoothie King smoothie, what flavor would you be?
No, this is not Finals Media Day. This is not All-Star Media Day. No. Damn, I just can't.
I'm not saying it out loud. You can say
they
it. They
definitely shouldn't. Like, they shouldn't. They're 0-5. The Pelicans are a terrible matchup. This is a bad spot for the Kings. They got to go on the road.
Yeah.
against a team that now has a rallying point. Zion Williamson out, by the way.
Yeah.
That's been confirmed.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah. Zion Williamson not playing. They have a rallying point. They've lost a couple in a row. They're a team that was battling for the 6th seed. They tricked off the final regular season game of the season against the Lakers. They had Zion get hurt, and it looked like they were going to beat the Lakers. Now they go into this game against this team that they're 5-0 against. The Pelicans have every reason to feel supremely confident, and I'm sure they do. In the time they played the Kings this year without Zion Williamson, they were up 50.
Oh, 50.
But I'm a vibes guy.
Okay.
And the vibes with Sacramento are very, very good. Best they've been all year, in my opinion.
I agree with you. Like, look, when you're coming off of, we always talk about this theory, right? Like,
Yes.
like one win can turn everything around, right?
Yeah.
All you got to do is win one, and you know that's what
Yeah.
you're searching when you're struggling, and you just need to get over the hump. It doesn't matter who it is. And then they did that in the final game of the season against the Blazers, and I saw in that game, I was watching him, and I was like, this looks like a machine. Like, I know the Blazers aren't any good at all, like not good at all. They're not even good when they bring the other 7 guys they actually know how to play basketball. They're still not good. But I was watching the Kings and I'm like, this is what Mike always talks about. It doesn't matter what the other team looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about you.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Kings have to worry about the Kings. They don't have to worry about the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was watching them against the Blazers, I was like, huh, it sort of seemed like everything is crisp. Everything looks right. Everything, like the way that they're playing is really tough. And then we get to the game against the Warriors. And I thought to myself again, like, if they look like this, they not only could beat the Pelicans, but game on for a 7-game series against OKC. But it's just, that's always the question. Like, can one game turn the tide? Can one game put you on a new path? And if that's what's happening here, then I'm here for it because I think it'll be fun to watch. I'm excited about watching this game tonight. I'm excited that there's a possibility of a 7-game series against the Thunder. I think that they can beat the Thunder because they've proven that they can beat the Thunder this year. And even the one game that late in the season that they lost was like, I didn't even really feel that was even that big of a
Okay,
loss.
but by that logic, then you think they're losing tonight.
Well,
James Ham of the Kings Beat says the Kings are losing tonight. That's what you just said.
I'm like a coin
You're
flip.
confident because they have beat the Thunder twice. You're confident that they can beat them 4 out of 7 times. But they've lost to the Pelicans 5 times. Ipso facto, you think the Kings are losing.
No,
if that's how we're doing it.
I don't know. I don't know. and that's what I keep telling everybody. Like, I'm not going to make a prediction.
I've got a feel
on this one.
I've got a feel.
This team, like this specific group, I have no idea.
We'll talk a little bit more about this later on. But sometimes you can go to the sports books. And you can look at the sports books and you can try and glean something from it. Okay. Not all the time. And sports books are wrong. Like, sports books lose sometimes.
Yeah.
But also they win a lot. There's a reason there's so much money coming in for advertising with these books, because A, they have the money to push a bunch of advertising, but B, they want to push a bunch of advertising to get a bunch of people in so they can make more money off those people. And so I went today. I went and looked because the line first came out and the Kings were favored.
1.5.
They were by 1.5. And I thought, okay, well, that'll change at some point. No. No, it has. I'm sorry. The Pelicans minus 1.5 now.
Oh.
Pelicans now minus 1.5, according to BetMGM.
Okay.
That feels like a trap to me. That feels like, because again, we got to go casual better. That's who we're talking about. Is going to look and go, oh, well, the Pelicans are really good. The Pelicans, they should have beat the Lakers. Oh, man, and then they're going to do some quick research and they might like, oh, they're 5-0 against the Kings this year. Oh, minus 1.5. Give me that. They basically just have to win. It's basically a money line, minus 1.5. Theoretically, they could win by 1 and you lose that wager, but that feels like a trap to me.
Yeah, I could see where you're going with this. I could even see that the reason why it was 1.5 to start was to sort of like backload the bet.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it does switch up, they've got all this other money already in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, look, I don't think anyone knows. From top to bottom, there's not a player, a coach, there's not a referee that knows. And I think I'm going to keep coming back to this. I think it's the one good thing about this. It's a flat out coin flip, and there is not going to be again. You take Zion out of the conversation. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of egregious fouls. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of foul trouble at all.
Nope.
I think this is going to be physical. It's going to be a game where there could be fights, where the two teams going at it. And look, the more physical team, the team that comes out and punches first in the first quarter, and the team that comes out at a halftime and sort of imprints their game, imprints their will on the other team, that's the one that's going to win. And I think it easily could be the Kings, but I'm not choosing that team. I've learned my lesson with this group particularly.
I think not making an official prediction yet. We have stuff
Kyle's
to
still
talk about
feeling
first.
it. He's feeling it.
No, it's just vibe.
Yeah?
It's all a vibe. That's what it is. And we'll get into some of the matchups and stuff, and we'll talk about some of the injury stuff and how this year has gone. But I can't shake this feeling that the Kings are just playing their best basketball right now. I think they are relishing in a way this year. They're relishing the kind of underdog mentality in a way that's, hey, we've fallen in. It's different than last year. Last year was, oh, we're the underdog. Well, hey, we're not getting any respect. We should, we're not getting, we're the 3 seed. We're in the playoff. Where's the respect? Whereas this year, I think there's a recognition of, we dug this hole. We dug a hole.
Yeah.
And then we fell in it. And now we have to fight our way out of this hole.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a key difference in mindset and a key mental switch that gives me more confidence that they can go into this game against a team they're 0-5 against. I'm going to keep bringing that up. What would we say? 96 point differential in the 5 games?
Yeah.
That's tough. But I don't think they're
difficult.
I don't think they're looking at it like this. I think they're going to look at their most recent game on April 11th and go, okay, we lost that game by 12. But that's not an insurmountable deficit in the NBA. They didn't lose 5 times by 30 where you go, man, there's just nothing. They're going to look at that tape from April 11th, and in a 12-point game, there are small adjustments you can make. Maybe the Pelicans just miss a couple of more shots. And now all of a sudden it's a 2-possession game. So I think that this is a closer matchup than the score lines would indicate from this season, even though we're going to take the most recent games as a sample.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about it. A lot of those games were in the first half of the year. A lot of those games were before the Kings started playing really well. And the Kings down the stretch didn't play great, but they play a different brand of basketball now that I think gives them a real chance to go into New Orleans tonight and win.
No, I think you're right about that, but I would also caution that they had an opportunity that in a big game, in a game that mattered a lot, 2 weeks ago, and they couldn't take this team down. And so, and again, Zion was there, and that does change everything for them.
Sure. And Brandon Ingram was not.
Yeah, and this also, I think at this point, we're also seeing that, that Keon is more comfortable in his role.
Yes.
That some of the
even over just the last week.
Yeah, the group of players that they have that are playing, Mike is shrunk the rotation down to realistically 7.5 men.
Mm-hmm.
And we might see 8, we might see 9 tonight, but I don't know. If they don't have to play other players, they're not going to. This is going to be a lockdown game where everyone is hyper-focused. And, I think, to be honest, the Kings have as much experience or more than most of the Pelicans outside of CJ. So, hey, this is a coin flip game. Honestly, I think we see 1.5 one way, 1.5 the other.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's a coin flip.
My goal by the end of this show is to convince you to say the Kings are going to win. That's the goal today. We'll get started next on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader.
There. This is a good question. How do the Kings overcome the Pelicans' length and strength? Strength went out the window when Zion left. Not that Valanciunas isn't strong, but when you have to defend Zion the way that you do, it frees Valanciunas to have a good game. If you're playing heads up against Valanciunas and you're not sagging off of him the whole time, he's not going to do anything against you. I mean, he can score 10 and he can get a double-double, but he's not going to be the guy that changes everything. I agree. Jonas does have an elite beard.
Their rotation with him was weird down the stretch this season.
Yeah.
He started playing like not a significant role for them in some games. It was weird. They went like small with Larry Nance at the 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. Prize Picks didn't really adjust. And so they had his points projection at like 9.5 every night. And I think in the second half of the year, he only went over that number twice.
Oh.
It was insane.
Huh.
Let me see if I can. So I was just tacking that into every single Prize Picks I'd do.
Larry Nance didn't play in most of the games the Kings played against him, I don't think.
Here's okay. Here, put a pin in Larry Nance. We didn't talk about him.
Put a pin in him. Oh, I got the wrong Larry Nance. God
damn it. Yeah, Jonas Valanciunas. No, it was 10.5. 10.5 was the number that they kept putting on him. Starting on February 27th, he went over 10.5 once, twice, 8 times across.
Oh.
How many games is that?
Okay, so Larry Nance only played in 2 of the 5 games against the Kings. And he wasn't effective.
Larry Nance. Someday, hopefully someday, I have a child. Maybe. TBD. But if someday I have a child, and that child happens to be a sports fan,
okay,
I am terrified of that child asking me, "Hey, Dad, was Larry Nance Jr. good?" Because I'm not going to have an answer for that.
It's just random as hell.
Like, because, dude, I used to do that with my dad all the time. Because I got really into Upper Deck in 2001, so I was like 11. Oh, hang on. We're coming back. I'll finish that story.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
I had the right button turned on, James.
Uh-oh.
I'm nailing it so far. We're hiccup free.
Hiccup free?
Hiccup free. First segment.
First segment down.
I'm going to put on a whiteboard segment since our last mistake. Technical mistake. I'm going to make mistakes and stuff I say all the time, but
technical
mistakes of trying to do the jobs of 2 people while also hosting a show. Want to remind you, no Purple and Black pregame show. That's the little pregame show that James and I do before Kings games. No Purple and Black pregame show because tonight at 4, after D'Lo and KC show is over, we'll talk about D'Lo and KC in a second.
Mm-hmm.
We got NBA play-in action. Elimination game. Bulls at Heat. That is going to be a rock fight, and I am so excited to watch it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
If the Pelicans were playing any other team, I would be more excited for the Bulls Heat game than I am for the Pelicans game.
Okay. I like this matchup. I think it's fun. I like 2 gritty teams.
They're just gonna. I said, whoever of the Heat and Sixers lose, they're not going to want smoke with the Bulls. Now the Heat without Jimmy Butler, the Heat still favored, by the way.
Wow, without Jimmy Butler?
That's one of those ones that feels like a trap to me. That makes me think the Heat are going to win.
Yeah, but then the Heat, they just keep winning.
They just figure it out, dude.
They do. They are one of the great franchises in NBA history.
I'm so convinced the Bulls are going to win tonight. And the Heat are going to win by like 20.
Okay.
And everybody's going to go, wow, Eric Spoelstra, how can you count out the Heat? Can the Heat upset the Celtics without Jimmy Butler? No.
I can tell you it would help the Kings if the Heat lose.
How so?
Because that would, if the Heat lose and somehow the Kings lose, that would put the Kings, the Warriors, and the Heat all tied for the 12, 13, and 14 spot in the draft lottery.
Okay.
Which would mean there would be a bunch of coin flips, right? So that's how that works. There would be coin flips, and it would at least give the Kings a chance to move up to number 12.
Whereas if the Heat win, the Bulls just go above them.
Yeah, so if the Heat win, the Bulls have a worse record than the Kings. They drop down to number 12 or number 13 or number 11, whatever it is they're going to be. But the Kings would bounce back. So, and then it would be like a 2-team coin flip between the Kings and the Warriors for the 13 and 14 spot. That's, again, if the Kings lose.
If they lose.
Yeah.
Which you think they're going to.
No, I'm just saying.
Speaking of D'Lo and KC, by the way, you're getting hyped for this Kings game tonight. Yep. There's not going to be a better spot to do it than Sky River Casino.
That's right.
32 Brew Street. You walk in the door of Sky River and you hang a right. It is right there. You can't miss it. They're going to have a live show noon to 4. And then I'm sure people will hang out after, but I don't. But noon to 4 is when the live show is. That's when the real party is.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna want to get out there. I'm gonna be out there. James is busy. James has work to do, but I don't. So I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna have a beer too.
Oh.
Or 2. Or 3. TBD. I gotta figure out my plans tonight, but I'll be there. I'll have at least a beer.
A beer.
They have a great selection, so I'm gonna have to pick one.
Okay.
I usually go track 7.
Last time I was
when
there,
in doubt,
I kept having Guinnesses. That's what I was drinking out that day. It was St. Patty's Day.
Guinness is fine. Oh, okay. Then yeah. No. That's fair.
Yeah.
Guinness in the UK, by the way. I can't wait for you to try one. Blows U.S. Guinness out of the water.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
I'd always heard that, but I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, please. Like, that's kind of, dude, it is different.
Yeah. So, like going to the Czech Republic and you have Pilsner Urquell there, and it's really good.
Okay.
Here, it's just like bad Heineken. It's
which
like,
is, I don't want to say anything bad about
the second
Heineken.
it gets room temperature, you're like, oh
no,
what has happened? Yeah, you know that Heineken, like,
oh, the skunky.
Yeah, the
skunky.
Yeah, as soon as it gets like even remotely close to room temperature,
yeah,
it's
no,
like, you just got to throw it away.
You have to shotgun your Heineken to make sure it's cold. So yeah, noon to 4 out at Sky River Casino. Make sure to head out, even if you can only stop by for a few minutes. Even if you've never been to a live show before, you don't need tickets, you don't need approval. You just pull up and you're like, yeah, I'm here, and you'll see the stage, and you go sit over there and hang out. Come say what's up, and we'll have a great time getting ready for Kings basketball tonight against the Pelicans, and that's what we're gonna do now. I have a hard time thinking that this goes back to what we were talking about last segment. I don't think the regular season matchups matter. I don't.
Okay.
I'm not. They have to be at least a little informative for sure. But last year, the Kings were 2-1 against this Pelicans team. Granted, without Zion, but they were 2-1 against the Pelicans with 15 and 18-point wins. They also lost one by 32. But this isn't one of those deals where, like, the Warriors, I think, have lost 15 straight to the Nuggets. I think it's that many.
Ooh.
It's some insane number that they've lost to the Nuggets. That's just the Nuggets. The Warriors aren't beating them. They're just a bad matchup straight up. Year in and year out, Golden State has trouble beating Denver.
It's like the Kings against the Bucks or the Kings against the Celtics.
Yeah, for just have a really hard time year in and year out beating this team. This is not that. The Pelicans haven't won 10 straight against the Kings, and we're going into this one like, I don't know what they do. Granted, the team's different. Both teams are a little different. And I think, though, that 2-1 last year is informative in that it's not this beast that the Kings haven't been able to overcome for years. It's like, yeah, hey, they've had some hiccups this year. It's a little bit of trouble, but there's recent history they can look at of beating this very same team.
Yeah, my only concern is that when you played them, like you had an opportunity to sort of reset the season.
Yeah.
And you still couldn't get over on them.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's a problem that I kind of look at. But again, like this Pelicans team, they haven't won anything. Like last year, they lost the play-in game, right? So it's not like this is a team that's like a refined team. That's the year before they lost the Western Conference. They lost in round 1, but they were a 36-46 team, somehow making the playoffs, and they lost to the Suns 4-2. So it's not like this team is just seasoned and like they know what they're doing and they've got your number, and this is going to be one of those like marching games where the Kings are in just a bunch of trouble. Overall, like I don't know what to make of them. I don't know why the Kings have had. I mean, I get why the Kings have had a tough time because of the length and athleticism.
Sure,
but like you take away Zion from that team, and you shouldn't have that big of a deal. It's not like the guys that they have, the length and athleticism guys that they have, are like super forceful players.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So this isn't Kawhi Leonard. This isn't Paul George. These are like, Murphy's a really nice player, but he's like a sleight of frame guy. They can get pushed around. Brandon Ingram, when he's right, is, can be an electric scorer, but he really hasn't been that for a while. He hasn't had a great season, and he's kind of beat up. And I don't know, man. To me, this team does have a shot. The Kings have a shot, and I'm just like intrigued to sit back and watch it.
In that game you were talking about a week ago, April 18th, almost exactly a week ago, Trey Murphy III started with no Brandon Ingram. He goes for 27 points on 6 of 12 shooting. He played 45 minutes in that one. CJ McCollum, 9 of 12. Granted, he did that all year against the Kings. We'll discuss that a little deeper later on. But 31 points for him, 7 assists. You had 13 and 10 for Jonas Valanciunas. Zion had 31. Jose Alvarado, 14 off the bench. Dyson Daniels added 10. He went 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. And on the Kings side, De'Aaron had 33. Keegan had 19, 5 of 10 from 3. Harrison Barnes had 22 in that one. Sabonis, 18 and 10. Keon Ellis struggled. But my point is it's not like the Pelicans were doing stuff, because that's the thing we always talk about is their defense. Oh, they're so the range of their defense is so tough.
Yeah.
It's not like the Kings couldn't score. Man, the Pelicans just hit a ton of shots.
Yep.
They hit a ton of threes. And hey, that happens sometimes. The Kings were better at defending the 3 down the stretch, and good enough that I look at that game and go, yeah, you know what? Maybe a little bit of a one-off. CJ McCollum on a night in, night out basis, who's maybe, although he hates the Kings, probably not going to hit 9 and 12.
Yeah.
Trey Murphy, probably not going to kill you for 45 minutes. Again, good player. Really nice player. I like Trey Murphy a lot. But I don't think he's going to kill you for 45. Like, there's just so you mentioned they had a chance to kind of get right with this season series, not win it, but get back on track on that April 11th game. I look at that game and I didn't see, man, they just cannot, particularly without Zion Williamson. I didn't see a team the Kings just can't beat. I see a team that hit some shots.
No, I totally agree. But Kyle, not only did they hit shots, but you have to understand the gravity that Zion plays with.
Yeah.
Like, he crushes your entire defense. Everyone has to shrink in, and it leaves these guys wide open. And you should never leave CJ McCollum open. And there's been a couple of times this season where CJ just like started hitting shots that had no business going in.
Ridiculous.
And he beat the Kings just like almost single-handedly with some ridiculous shots. But the fact that Zion draws everything to him, the players that they have are just not so good offensively that you can't stop them man on man.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that you take away Zion and that team just looks a lot different. And the Kings can try zones. They can try to mix things up. They can, if CJ starts to get hot, they can try to send a second body at him. If Brandon Ingram gets hot, you can start to send a second body at him. But not having Zion to me is like the biggest thing for the Kings that's going for the Kings in this. And it's kind of a bummer you don't get to see them full strength, but at the same time, like this is who they've been the last like 5 years with Zion. Like that's when you draft a player like this, it gets hurt all the time. You got to kind of bank on him getting hurt. And like to be honest with you, I Brandon Ingram he just isn't the same player right now that he was. I mean, he just missed a whole bunch of games. What are we looking at? Like he missed 11 games or so.
Mhm.
He came back against the Lakers and he looked okay in game 82, but the playing game he didn't look okay.
Yeah.
And so what does he look like? Because if he doesn't look like himself and Zion's not there, then what are we talking about here?
You're starting to come around.
Well,
you're starting to come around. We got a break. We're going to keep talking about this. We'll be back in a minute on ESPN 1320 Sacramento Sports Leader. Sorry.
Oh, you're okay. I didn't look at the clock.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that Brandon Ingram's got a get right game in him. And the fact that you can't just find the play-in games all over the place, slightly frustrating. Yeah, I hate to say that Brandon Ingram is an unreliable player, but to be honest with you, he's an unreliable player. Even in the games that he played leading up to the injury, he wasn't very good. He had 2 20-point games. But in his 8 games leading up to injury, he's averaging 14.5 a game, 30% from 3 and 48.5% from the field. He's one of those guys that doesn't play a lot of games, and he sure does look like he's run out of gas a little bit. So 45 games last season, 55 the year before, 61, 62, 52, 59. Yeah, I agree with this, Miss Mac. CJ. But again, if you don't have to defend Zion the same way, I don't think CJ will be as big an issue. Michigan Wolverines, yes, I do see Mike Brown keeping the same tight rotations. The only reason he won't is if there's foul trouble or if someone's just totally ineffective. And the last game they played, in all honesty, I thought everyone was effective in their own way. Alex Len maybe didn't have his best game, but Alex Len against a team like this that they're going to play tonight, I think will be pretty solid. Kyle, have you ever seen the CJ McCollum Costa Kufis picture from high school?
Who? What?
CJ McCollum and Costa Kufis play together.
That's hilarious.
Oh no, the picture is the greatest thing of all time.
I doubt that.
No, it is.
The greatest thing of all time.
Yeah.
The world's greatest cup of coffee.
It is. Here you
go. I have seen that. I just didn't know that was Costa Kufis.
That's Costa.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he looks so CJ McCollum and Costa. CJ looks like Webster. And Costa has hair. Is Ingram on a minutes limit?
I don't think so. He just got pulled last game. That's what the Pelicans writer from ESPN, who's on D'Lo and Casey yesterday.
Yeah.
He said it wasn't. He just got pulled.
Yeah, he just wasn't playing well.
Got benched.
Yeah. Costa hadn't fully retired. Soren asked, "Where's Costa now?" He was offered a couple of big man jobs, backup. I mean, like coaching jobs, and he wasn't ready to do that yet.
Oh, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Just because it's a big day for the Kings doesn't mean we're not giving away $500. We're still going to do that later on in the show. We have a winner from yesterday. We will have $500 to give away to you today, and then we will continue giving away $500 next week. Keep listening in. We will give you a keyword that you can go enter at ESPN1320.com as part of the Nothing But Net giveaway. And then later on in the afternoon, D'Lo and Casey will also give you a keyword that you can go enter for a second chance to win $500. We were talking about Brandon Ingram going into the break. And he's an interesting player because he's one of those guys that every time I'm like, I'm kind of out on Brandon Ingram as a star.
Mm-hmm.
He'll go have a really, really good stretch and look like a star. But he has not developed the kind of reputation for me yet that says, hey, you know what? I'm going to count on Brandon Ingram to go get 35 tonight. I'm just not, he might, like he definitely could. If he came from the future and told me Brandon Ingram dropped 40, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, he's capable of that for sure. But I don't, if it was Dame Lillard, I'd be like, well, you know, you're getting 30 or 40 from Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Just, or Steph Curry or whoever, pick Joel Embiid, whatever. You know, you're going to get a huge game from this guy. But I'm not there with BI, man. I just can't get there. A really, really talented player. Scary for sure, like in theory. But I'm not ready to go. The Kings need to game plan everything around stopping Brandon Ingram.
No, for me,
I don't see it, man.
It's you can't let CJ go nuts. I mean, I think that's the guy you have to look out for in this game. Like CJ is the one who's hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a point where Brandon Ingram has hurt the Kings too, where the Kings have no answer for Brandon Ingram.
Sure. Well, and that's if Brandon Ingram's going to get rolling, if he has this quote unquote get right game.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Kings do about it.
Well, you throw Keegan on him.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's just he's one of those players that has a build that it's like, man, when he's really going, there's just not a lot you can do about it.
Yeah. No, I agree, but the fact that I don't know when the last time it was he was that player. And, you know, he just
against the Kings at one point this year.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like over the last month and a half, he hasn't been that player.
He hasn't even been playing.
No, I mean, he missed 11 games, 11 or 12 games, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the games before that, he wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
So he's, you know, either hasn't played or has played marginal basketball in like the last quarter of the season. And so, like, again, I think he's a scary player, but I also think that they have some other guys that kind of step into that role and can hurt you. You know, I know the Kings dared Dyson Daniels to beat them last time, and he did. He missed a bunch of shots, but then in crunch time, he actually hit the big three. He hit one of the threes that hurt you. And again, I think that they're going to have moments where, you know, they're not going to leave Trey Murphy. At least they shouldn't. But Herb Williams is a guy that sneaks up and beats you with weird buckets here and there.
Herb Jones?
Yeah, Herb Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the same with Jose Alvarado. You know?
Sure.
We had that play in the last game where Alvarado chased down a ball in the corner right next to their bench and didn't even have any space and just throws up a three from like while falling out of bounds and nothing but net, like in transition.
And that's the kind of thing that's fake to me.
Yeah.
Like that's not a sustainable thing.
But he does it every game. Alvarado, nothing he does is sustainable except for it is.
I'm not going to call. I'm not doing this. I'm not calling Brandon Ingram a fraud.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Oh.
When do you think the last time Brandon Ingram scored 30 points was?
January.
No, not that
It's
far.
not that far?
It's March 1st. Against Indiana.
Oh, well, that doesn't count.
He scored 34. The time before that he scored 30?
Yeah.
February 28th. He scored 30 exactly, also against Indiana. You want to keep going up? Do you want to know the next time he did it?
Yeah.
February 5th. Do you want to know who the opponent was?
Indiana.
Toronto. Hang on, let's keep going. Let's keep going. And there's good, and this is why he's not a fraud. There's actual good games there. He had 28 in Boston. He had 26 in Milwaukee. He's had some legitimately really. He had 30 against the Kings. In fact, let's keep going up. Let's find another 30-point game for Brandon Ingram. Oh, I found one. We got to go all the way to December 19th. Brandon Ingram scored 34 against the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh.
And a game they lost, by the way. And then we're going to go up a couple. Hey, here's a 40 burger.
Yeah?
40 piece. Against?
I don't know.
Take a guess. Just guess a team.
Washington.
Hey, you nailed it.
Yes.
Nice job. He had 40 against the Washington Wizards on December 13th. Now we're going to go up and we're going to see Sacramento. He had 30 against Sacramento. Now, again, this is December 4th. This is against the version of the Sacramento Kings that couldn't get a stop.
Mm-hmm.
He had 30 in that one. Let's keep on going up. There's 30 against the Clippers. That's legit. Early in the season, he was good.
He was good early in the season, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's been
30 against the Clippers, 31 against Sacramento, 30 against Minnesota.
You know what, Kyle, though, a little bit of this, I would say, is going to be the emergence of a guy like Trey Murphy.
Yeah.
It is. Some of that, it takes away from what he's doing just because he's just not going to get as much of an opportunity.
Well,
but
no, you're right. That hits the nail on the head. But that's exactly why I'm not sitting here going like, oh, man, I'm terrified of Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
Because he's not a player that they're going to be like, yeah, hey, go cook. Go shoot it 30 times. They have other pieces. They have other peripheral pieces that are you more worried about Brandon Ingram scoring 30 or Trey Murphy going 12 of 18 from 3?
Yeah, probably Trey.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, again, I know that's a super outlier game, but that's the kind of thing that worries me in this one way more than, oh, Brandon Ingram, watch out. He's going to get right eventually. I don't know that he is.
I'd even tell you, this is a weird stat that I'm stumbling upon while looking through some of their advanced stuff. In wins this season, right? So 35 games, Trey Murphy started 15 of these. We're talking about wins for the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Murphy is a 132 offensive rating, 110 defensive rating. He shoots 47% from the field. He shoots 40% from 3.
This is a starter?
This is in 35 games that they've won with him playing. At 15 of those, he started.
Oh, got it. Okay.
17 points, 5 rebounds, whatever. In 22 games, 8 of which he started, these are losses. Trey Murphy shoots 38.3% from the field, 32.8% from 3. His offensive rating is a 110, down 22 from him in their wins. And he's a 121 defensive rating. He drops to 11 points per game. So maybe that is, if Trey Murphy isn't the guy, then maybe if you can take him away, maybe you beat them. I don't know. I'm not leaving him open because that's what I've seen too many times this year is the Kings leave him wide open. And every time you leave him wide open, he just puts the ball right in the basket.
He shot 50, 46, 80 against the Kings this year.
50, 46, and 80. Oof.
And averaged 18, 3, and 3.
Yeah.
33 minutes a night.
But again, most of those games, not all of them, most of those came playing alongside Zion.
Yeah.
And Zion just draws so much of a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And you forget about him. You get so concentrated on trying to stop Brandon Ingram, then Zion, then CJ, that he's the fourth guy and he lights you up. So
Trey Murphy only played in 3 games against the Kings this year.
Oh, really?
That's weird.
Okay.
Is that right?
That
doesn't feel right to me. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, it says 3 games. 2 as a starter.
Huh.
Yeah, his he was hurt early in the season.
Yeah, that's right. He missed the 2 in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 of 8, 3 of 6, 6 of 12.
He's a talent, man. Again,
he's a really good player.
They just keep finding guys that make sense. And so for every guy they find like Trey Murphy, they find a guy like Herb Jones.
Do you know what Herb Jones is shooting from 3 this year?
Is it 40?
41.8. 33.7 his first season, 33.5 his second season, 41.8 this year on a career high 3.6 attempts a game.
He's an elite role player.
He is so
Elite,
good.
elite role player.
And that's and we'll talk about keys to victory a little bit later on. But as you know, we talk about Brandon Ingram and Trey Murphy and CJ McCollum and this and that. The bottom line is, we talk about this all the time with the Kings, is you want to have the best player on the court in these games. And to me, De'Aaron Fox is the best player on the court tonight by kind of a comfortable margin.
I mean, he should be. But the way that they played CJ McCollum.
Let me rephrase this. If you are ranking the players going into this game, is there any argument that De'Aaron Fox isn't the best player?
No, I
into the game?
You're probably right. Yeah,
that's
he's
more
the All-NBA player. No one else has been an All-NBA player on that team. On
Domas,
outside of Domas, yeah. But I mean, on the Pelicans.
Oh, on the Pelicans, yeah.
And
that's no
Brandon
disrespect.
Ingram
This
was
is no,
All-NBA.
and this is. Let me get to my point real quick, if I can get there. That to me is where I have a little more confidence in the Kings going into this game because of what you just said. Herb Jones, elite role guy. Trey Murphy, elite role guy. Jonas Valanciunas, really good role guy. Larry Nance Jr., don't ask. I don't know. I got nothing for you. But all these, even CJ McCollum, for his entire career in Portland, was an elite role guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was a 2 behind Damian Lillard for sure. I think he was a little bit miscast there. But I don't, he can't, he's their 1A. And I don't think he can be that in a game like this. I don't.
It's just, to me, it really depends. But
again, he kills the Kings.
What
so
CJ does, I mean, if you can, even if CJ has a huge game, you can't have Ingram and Murphy have huge games. Like, you have to limit the damage from others. Somebody is going to score for you. You can pick your poison. And I think if I'm Mike Brown, I might leave CJ man on with Keon Ellis as much as possible the entire game. And if CJ's busting him up, I might switch out and give him a different look. Go for Davion for a few minutes. Go to De'Aaron for a few minutes. But realistically, I'm not gonna send 2 guys at him, because what I don't want to do is have Herb Jones heat up, and I don't want to have Trey Murphy heat up. Now, if Dyson Daniels is going to beat you, I think you're okay with that. If Valanciunas for some reason is out on the perimeter and is going to beat you, Nance, whatever, I think that's where the Kings are going to push them.
Yeah.
Is to force those guys. So maybe they will hedge. Maybe they will send a second body at CJ McCollum to get the ball out of his hands. But you can't leave Trey. And that's the guy, to me, that he has the potential to go for 30. And I don't know who else does. Like, I think Herb Jones can get you 20. Yeah. But like, taking that next step, would he ever be someone who independently, without just like getting left wide open and hitting a bunch of shots, can go for 30? And then of course Ingram, but just the way Ingram's been playing, I don't know that Ingram is that guy right now. Like, it's not like I don't think he can be that player again, but as of today, Brandon Ingram hasn't been that player.
You mentioned earlier you put Keegan on Brandon Ingram, and that to me is a matchup to watch.
Yeah.
Because if Brandon Ingram winds up having a huge game and Keegan Murray comes down a little bit from his performance on Tuesday, hey, you're in some trouble. Yeah. But vice versa too. If Keegan Murray is going to go for 25 and Brandon Ingram is going to give him 12, like, the Kings are in a really good spot. And you mentioned earlier you put Keegan on Ingram, and I was trying to figure out a way that you could put Keegan on CJ McCollum the way they did in the first half, or a lot of the first half, with the Warriors and Steph. But I don't think you can do that, because I don't think they have another body that can guard Brandon Ingram.
No, I mean, look, I think we're going to know pretty quick in the game whether Brandon Ingram is like the Brandon Ingram BI, or whether he's some random dude.
Yeah.
And if he's some random dude, that's where I think with Ingram, what you might do if you're Mike Brown, you might start Harrison Barnes on him and say, okay, who is he tonight? Right. And if I can get Harrison Barnes to bully him a little bit and just keep him away, keep him out of the key, and kind of, shove him around a little bit, and then take him to task on the offensive end. If you can get that would allow you to have, Keegan on Trey Murphy or again Keegan on. You can put Keegan on a guy like McCollum.
I was going to say why I feel like putting him on McCollum is the move, because at least to start, and again, like you said, you got to throw different looks at him, and you got to do. You can't run the same defense over and over,
and
expect to have success against a vet like CJ McCollum, who's as accomplished as he is. But I think you put Keegan there because you have Keon on Herb Jones. And that's a size mismatch for sure, but is that something that Herb Jones has the skill set to take advantage of outside of just shooting over him?
No,
that doesn't worry me that much.
No. Like Herb Jones, Herb Jones does go baseline and like he gets loose on the break. Yeah, but he does hit the corner three.
But no, for sure. But I don't. Okay, so he puts the ball on the deck and wants to go baseline. I don't think that's a matchup that Keon just can't handle.
No,
I could be fine.
No. I think you could totally neutralize, but I don't want to waste Keon Ellis on Herb Jones.
Yeah, not the whole game for sure, but
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out ways in my mind that you can get Keegan Murray on CJ McCollum without it being a disaster elsewhere, where they can just go matchup hunting.
Well, no, because if they decide to try to feature Trey Murphy as like an offensive threat who's not just a catch and shoot three guy, and you put De'Aaron Fox on him, De'Aaron Fox is going to treat him just like he did Andrew Wiggins. He's going to take the ball from him like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Trey Murphy's taller, but that doesn't mean De'Aaron can't guard him.
No, De'Aaron can guard him.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why, again, I think De'Aaron can guard up. I think Keon can guard up. But somebody's got to stop CJ.
Yeah.
Or slow him.
Good point. You know what's funny about this is we're having this conversation about all these perimeter guys, and then I feel like Domas and Jonas Valanciunas are just over here doing Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Oh, totally.
Just by themselves.
Like, boom, boom,
yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
Like those guys are going to beat the hell out of each other for 48 minutes. Okay, now back to this.
Yeah, and I think
that to me. Go ahead. Sorry.
If they're going away from Valanciunas, if they do pull the plug on Valanciunas, because I think again without Zion, Valanciunas looks like very mortal.
Yeah.
Right. It's even last time they started the game with Sabonis defending Zion and with Harrison Barnes on Valanciunas. And Valanciunas busted you up a little bit, but not a ton. What did he finish with, like 14 points, something like that? It wasn't something so dramatic, but he's a big body that keeps that crashes a glass and everything else. I think the Kings, if Sabonis and Valanciunas are matched up against each other, you could see Sabonis like have a night, and he has had a night against Valanciunas plenty of times. Yeah. Now they're friends; they know each other extremely well. They're on the Lithuanian national team together, sort of like big brother, little brother stuff there. But this is a player who, again, he can make life difficult. I just don't see where like Nance is going to be able to stop Sabonis at all. Like, that's fine. Go ahead and go to Nance. If you're going to go to Nance against Sabonis, he's going to big body you all the way to the basket.
I think if you're putting Larry Nance in one-on-one against Sabonis, that means you're throwing a lot of help at him.
Yeah.
And hoping that you can get the Kings to miss some threes and then take advantage on the offensive end with more athleticism and stuff. But I don't know if I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I don't love that idea.
No.
I don't know if Larry Nance is good, man. He's been in the league for like a decade.
Is this what you're going to tell your child if you ever have him? I don't know if he's any good. I don't know.
Yeah, bro. Like, is Larry Nance good? Meh. Yeah, he's fine. He had a nice run. He's been in the league for 10 years. Check that. 9 years.
That's a lot of money he's getting in retirement.
Dude, he's good. He's a solid NBA player.
Yeah.
Averaged 23 minutes a game for his entire career. He's played 522 games.
That's crazy.
Averages 7-6-2. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean the problem is that he's never advanced as a player.
Yeah,
so like I don't really. Does he even shoot threes?
Here's what's funny. You say he's never advanced as a player. Rookie year with the Lakers, 63 games, 22 starts. He played 20 minutes a night, 5.5 points, 5 rebounds, 0.7 assists. This year, 61 games for the Pelicans, played 20 minutes a night, 5.7 points, 5 rebounds, 1.9 assists.
Same dude.
He's passing a little better, and he's more efficient. He shot 57.3% from the field as opposed to 52.7 as a rookie, but he also took fewer shots.
He did shoot 41.5 from 3 this year on 1.1 shots per game.
Watch out.
Some
watch out.
Sabonis type.
He's just good, dude. He's just a solid bench guy.
Yeah, just
rock
run-of-the-mill.
solid bench guy.
Yeah, just run-of-the-mill dude.
Yeah,
But he's 6'8". He's not going to be able to.
Valanciunas is the kind of guy to me where, we talk about it all the time with Domas. Like, I want to see him take over a game, and I want to see him score more offensively. I want to see him be there in crunch time. All that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
To me, in a matchup with Valanciunas, the value is like, be a little better. I don't need Domas tonight for all the things we've talked about. I'm gonna let him stop playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots over there, and I'm gonna bring him in here to the discussion. I don't need 25 and 18 from Domas to be like, yeah, hell yeah. It'd be great. You'd love to see it.
Yep.
But I don't need that tonight. Can you get 15 and 13 from Domas, 18 and 13 from Domas?
Yeah, I would say like even 18 and 18 or 18 and 16. He needs to be able to get through Valanciunas and dominate the glass, because that's one problem he does have against Valanciunas.
Sure. But follow me here.
Yep.
So what did I say? 18 and 13?
Yep.
That's Valanciunas this year against the Kings. 13 and 10, 15 and 12, 18 and 11, 15 and 11, 10 and 13. Like, you just need to be just be better. Just be the better of those two players.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I need. Just outplay him. And I think he has for the most part this year. And I'm not super worried about it. But to your point, if all of a sudden there's some world where Valanciunas starts, what's his career or his high in field goal attempts against the Kings this year? 11. If he takes 15 shots and he's going 12 of 15, now all of a sudden you have a problem.
Yeah.
So play him to a little bit better than neutral.
Totally. But this is what I don't like. It's that in their matchups, Sabonis with 10 rebounds, 10 rebounds, 13 rebounds, 9 rebounds, 10 rebounds. Sabonis has to be a better rebounder against his team. And that's where I do think that Valanciunas does sort of manhandle him on the glass.
Yeah. Maybe if Harrison Barnes can get active, I don't know.
Just throw Harrison Barnes.
Just throwing a name out there. Harrison Barnes.
I think it's funny. We talk about all the matchups that, the Kings are going to struggle with, or, on one end.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, like, who exactly is CJ McCollum going to defend? And it's probably going to be Keon. But, man, if Keon keeps playing aggressive, if Keon keeps shooting the 3-ball, I think they're going to sag off, and they're going to let Keon have his way if that's what happens. And I think Keon can beat you. It's interesting.
Dude, so the same way, what's funny is in New Orleans right now, they're probably talking the same way you and I were like, yeah, and if Dyson Daniels is going to hit a bunch of threes, then you live with it.
Yeah.
Or if Jonas Valanciunas is going to step out and hit a bunch of mid-range jumpers, you live with it. In New Orleans right now, they're probably sitting there going, and if Keon Ellis is going to stand over there and hit a bunch of threes, you live with it. It's probably the same view they're taking. But we've seen him do it.
Yeah.
We've seen him go, 8 of 15?
Yeah.
What
was that? That's the game. Yeah.
No, they won. It was a game they won. I can't remember. Anyways, whatever game it was, he went 8 of 15. And that's where I think he had 5 points in their last loss against the Pels.
Yeah, but did he shoot a bunch, or did he just go quiet?
No, he didn't. He was very, very passive.
Yeah.
5 field goals, 2 for 5, 1 of 3 from 3, 1 rebound, no assists. 5 points. He was a -5 in 23 minutes. Like, I don't think I don't think you're getting that from Keon again tonight. Okay. I don't. And if they do, then you're in a tough spot, because I think you need a very similar game on both ends of the floor. And you need a very similar game than the one you got against the Warriors. And maybe the starters are a tiny bit worse and your bench is a tiny bit better.
Yeah.
But overall, I think you need a very similar game.
Yep.
All right. We'll talk about the other play-in matchup, which we have today on ESPN 1320 starting at 4 o'clock. That's right after D'Lo and KC's live show, which is out there at Sky River Casino inside 32 Brew Street from noon to 4. So come out, eat, drink, talk sports, get ready for a huge Kings game tonight. We will continue doing that in the second hour. We're going to give away $500. And I'm going to tell you why I think we're going to continue telling you why I think the Kings are going to win tonight. And I'm going to continue trying to convince James. And hopefully, if you don't think they're going to win, hopefully I can try and convince you too. Right here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Center.
It's funny. Fox's stats against the Pelicans. He's got a 33, He's got a 30. He's got a 26. Then he's got a 3-point game and a 14.
Huh.
So his stats are all over the place.
The big games were early in the year, right?
Yeah, no. 33 on 4-11. Like their last game,
Right.
he put up 33.
Was it his first game he had or the
It was a January game where he scored 3 points. The December
one they lost by 5 was the one he scored like 30 plus, yeah.
No, he scored 26 in that when they lost by 5. When they lost by 10, and I think that's the play-in game. I mean, the in-season tournament game, he scored 30. But he had 6 turnovers. What's that?
Oh, 33, yeah.
Yeah, 33 is the latest game that they just played.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Rooting hard for you guys tonight, man. Great point.
Someone said I look like purple's my color. This isn't purple. It's
Yeah,
navy.
it's definitely blue.
It just might look purple on the stream.
I wore my purple today, though.
Did you? Did you see George Karl pick the Kings?
That's wild.
George Karl. I'm 4 for 4 on playing predictions. The Bulls and Kings will grab the 8 seeds tomorrow night.
Good for George. We should have gotten him on.
Book it. Yeah, me and George aren't close.
No, I guarantee that. That's 2 minutes there.
Oh, yeah, the Corgi did pick the Kings. I saw that. Scooter, can Duarte be moved in the offseason? Absolutely, he can be moved. He's a $6 million expiring contract.
Hey, I think he will be.
Yeah, I would actually, kind of take it that way too. I think they're just kind of done with him.
It was a great idea. It was a really great idea in practice.
Yeah, in theory,
In theory.
in theory, but it did not work out. Yeah. We had Joe here in the other room.
He's running the board for the live show.
Sweet. From here, right? So you have to have someone here and someone there, right? Oh, that's too much.
Or remote broadcast stuff. I felt bad for my buddy Joe when we did a bunch of live broadcasts at 95.7 for the Super Bowl in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess 2020, but going into or for the 2019 season. We did all these broadcasts. We did 5 remote broadcasts in 5 days at all these different locations around the Bay Area and had a great time. Just a total blast at all of them. And our board op, Joe, who I still talk to and like very much, Spadoni, shout out to you if you happen to see this. But I love you so much. I miss you. I always felt bad because he had to just sit in the studio. It's like, man.
Nobody puts Joe in the studio. Actually, they do. That's sort of the point.
Oh, this is a good question, Lizzie. We'll get to this. I'll answer 2, though, if that's okay. This is a good take. I like this take. Good take, Jim. Here we go. Hour number 2. I turned on the wrong pot. Sorry there, guys. Hour number 2. I'm Kyle Madsen. That's James Ham. Good fade. Here we go. I'm going to try this again. Hour number 2. I'm Kyle Madsen. That's James Ham. We're hanging out with you until noon. Then we will hand it off to D'Lo and KC, and they will hang out with you until 4. But literally hang out with you. They're going to be out at Sky River Casino for a live show, noon to 4. Head out there. There's going to be food. There's going to be drinks at 32 Brewer Street. So you can order food and drinks. You don't have to order food and drinks.
Mm-hmm.
But it will be available if you would like. I definitely recommend doing so. It is going to be the best place in Sacramento to watch the game. No idea whether people are going to stick around and watch the game there. I would. They have TVs like everywhere you're sitting. There are, bless you, everywhere you sit, there's a good view of a TV. So if you do want to watch the game out there, it's a good spot for it. I'm sure it'll be freaking packed.
Yep.
And then come enjoy the live show beforehand, noon to 4. That's where D'Lo and KC will be.
Sounds good.
It's going to be great. And then at 4, a reminder, we have NBA play in action tonight right here on ESPN 1320. Bulls at Heat. Who do you think's going to win that one? George Karl's picking the Bulls.
Man, I'd hate to go against George Karl since he also picked the Kings.
Dude, spoiler on the bit.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Oh, my bad. I'm gonna say, man, I just never bet against the Heat. But they're lacking Jimmy Butler. But that never does seem to matter either.
The Bulls are 2.5-point dogs, and that terrifies me because that feels like bait.
Yeah.
That feels like a line where somebody's going to go, no, Jimmy Butler, give me the bull, and I get points. Give me the bull. I'll get the Bulls.
Yeah.
Kobe White just had 42. Yeah. And then the Heat go out and win by 20. But that said, I'm picking the Bulls.
Okay.
Despite Vegas trapping me into taking them.
You're high on the Bulls.
I am, dude. I think the Bulls got some dogs.
Okay.
I don't think that they are. I think the Bulls have the opposite problem that the Kings had last year.
Okay.
Where I think the Kings had and still have, but last year specifically, had a ton of really, really talented players. Their mindset was missing a little bit, though. They were missing some of the dog. The Bulls, I think, are missing some of the talented players, but they got a bunch of dogs. Like Kobe White has improved a lot.
Yeah.
And DeMar DeRozan is as deadly in the mid-range as anybody.
Ever.
But and Zach LaVine is fine as a scorer. But what they are right now without Zach LaVine, it's like if DeMar DeRozan's shot's not falling, and Kobe White is a good player, but after that it's like, man, Ayo Dosunmu, he's fine, but he's a dog, man.
Yeah.
They just kind of get after it. And I appreciate their grittiness, despite the fact that sometimes watching them feels like watching paint dry.
Oh no, it can be ugly and like filthy to watch. It's not a beautiful brand of basketball.
No.
So I definitely think that like that's kind of the Heat style as well, though. They like to muck things up. They like to make it ugly, and you know they've got a bunch of like those gritty dudes.
Yeah, man.
So you know the dogs you talk about.
Yeah.
Like that's why I never want to bet against them, because let's be honest, over the course of time, the Heat just find a way. Eric Spoelstra to me
It is ridiculous.
Yeah, he is one of the best coaches in the NBA, if not the best.
I think to me he's top of my list.
Yeah, he's way up there.
So good.
Yeah. So and also like their development department is just incredible. The way that they bring along players, or they find players that like didn't work somewhere else, or they find guys that were, you know, like second round picks or undrafted guys, and then they bring them through sort of their whole system. Next thing you know, they're like extremely like well-rounded players. They can like multi-positional players, guys who are tough, you know, Caleb Martin, you know, well, the Martin twins, like that type of player. Like they always have like a stack of players that I think would look really good in Sacramento.
I think he does a really good job of the Bill Belichick model of scouting. Don't tell me what the guy can't do. Tell me what he can do.
Yep.
And then we're going to make sure that he's doing those things on the field. I feel like Eric Spoelstra does the same thing.
Yeah.
Duncan Robinson shoots the hell out of the ball. All right, that's what he's going to do here. We're not going to try. I think they might have overpaid him a little bit, but we're not going to try and turn him into a
They've
ball
done that
handler.
a few times.
We're not trying to make him a creator. He's just going to shoot the heck out of the ball.
Yeah, and I would say, like, too, when it comes to, like, the Monty McNair, Wes Wilcox point of view, they are very much especially in the draft, they know what they know about a player, and they will trust what they know about a player, and then anything else that they get after that is just bonus, but they're going after what they know. And, like, if you're going to look at Davion Mitchell isn't as good as he was in college because, in college you have just more opportunity as one of the top dogs and as a, seventh guy off the bench.
Yeah.
But they know who he is and they know what he brings. They know that, like, the defense is going to be there no matter what. And then all this other stuff you're hoping you can develop and bring along. But as long as they know what they know, and same thing with Keegan Murray, same thing with Tyrese Halliburton. Like, they do a really good job of looking at players and saying, okay, part of it is they draft older players for the most part.
Yeah.
The only young player they ever drafted was Jamias Ramsey. Everyone else was much older. But everyone else that they draft, you can really just say, hey, look, they have a type, and that type is a player that might not have the highest ceiling, but it also doesn't have a low floor.
Yeah.
And they're guys that that you're going to get value out of that can actually play. And you actually have like 3 or 4 things that they're going to be good at, and you can put them out there and have them do those things.
Super important.
Yeah.
Really, turns out having good players is a key tenet of roster building.
Yeah.
No, I think, there's a tendency, I think, from front offices and in every sport, by the way, this is not a basketball specific thing, to get enamored with ceiling. Like, we can fix him kind of thing. This guy's super talented. He runs a 4.3 140 and he jumps out of the building and he's 6'3". I'm talking about DK Metcalf. So DK Metcalf happens.
Yeah.
That's a bad example. I'm sorry. DK Metcalf's good. Like Kevin White from West Virginia. I think he went 5th overall to the Bears and just never did anything in the NFL.
Yeah.
And because teams went, man, look at his testing numbers. He is so fast. He jumps out of the building. Look at all that. Look, he was good in college. He put up numbers in college.
Okay, so I think in the NFL,
the floor was also very low.
Yes. So the NFL, I think they get lost in the combine. And they also get lost because there's so many players, right? Like there's 50, 60, 70 players in every college team. There's so many people to choose from. I think at the NBA, there's this weird default setting that players that GMs have. They look at a player and they go, hey, look, length, athleticism, leaping ability. They look at their 3-point shot. If their 3-point shot isn't good, they look at their free throw shot and say, okay, so the stroke. So I think with the NBA, they get so caught up in this, like, well, if I can't make him, if he doesn't develop into this, I can still make him into this.
Oh, interesting.
And that's always wrong. It's always wrong. And it's like I think the classic is like Dante Green, like 6'10", long, super athletic. And you thought, okay, he could be a star. He could be Rashard Lewis. Yes. Rashard. There we go. Rashard Lewis.
Not Rashad McCants.
No, but you kept thinking, okay, he could be Rashard Lewis.
Yeah.
But if he's not, we might be able to make him into a Bruce Bowen. And that's just not the case, because NBA players, they come into the league and they think that they're going to be the next Michael Jordan or the next T-Mac. And like the best players are the ones that don't come in with that idea.
Yes.
And it's not the I'm a one of one guy. It's the guy who's like, oh no, I'm just going to do my best to fit in. And if I can get better and better and better, then I'll get more opportunity type guys. But yeah.
Austin Rivers says this on his podcast all the time. He says, learn your role, change your life.
Okay.
Learn your role, change your life. And that goes exactly to what you're talking about. If you come into the league going, hey, I am going to be the next Michael Jordan. I am the best player in the league. Who was it? Benedict Mathurin that said, like, I'm better than LeBron until I face LeBron.
Oh, that's possible.
I think it was Benedict Mathurin who said that. But basically saying, like, I believe I'm better than LeBron until he shows me he's better than me.
Yeah.
Like oh my God. It's crazy. But I think that's a mindset a lot of guys kind of have coming in, versus when you draft players like the Kings do, who are older, who maybe weren't the best player on their college team. Like Keon Ellis had a good college career, and he was all defense player. He was good, but he gets into a situation where, like, yeah, hey, he wasn't a lottery pick. He had to come up through the mud as an undrafted player. He had to spend time in the G League. He had to spend time on a two-way where he's sitting on a NBA bench and watching the game, but not getting to check in and play.
Yep.
And you figure out how to get in by learning what your role is. What does this team need? Oh, they need a dog on defense. I can do that. They need a guy who can knock down some threes. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to start doing that. And that is just so much more valuable than having a roster full of dudes. Shout out to the Pistons. A roster full of dudes who all think like, oh, hey, I'm the star on this team. I'm the 1A.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can need a 1A for sure. But even if you have 5 1As, one of those 1As needs to be a 1B. One needs to be a 1C. There needs to be some kind of pecking order.
I totally agree. We should just continue this discussion.
Yeah.
After the break. Yeah,
I don't even know how we got there. We were talking about the Heat, the Miami Heat.
Yeah, but
the Bulls today.
There's a way to, like, I look at this and we can hit that after the break.
Okay, great. We'll continue talking about this moving forward. We'll have keys to a Kings victory for you as well. And can they sustain what they did Tuesday night against the Warriors? We'll talk about it all next on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Wrecked your face?
Yeah. Oh, look, no, you're going to drain everywhere.
Ew.
Luckily.
Pause. That's a flag, dude. Okay. They're draining everywhere.
Luckily, I had grabbed a paper towel for my donut. I was like, oh, no. What's going on, everybody? Let me look. Somebody asked. Hi, Darren. Hi, Spencer. Why is my computer not doing what it's supposed to do? Come on now. Sacramento. Okay. So someone is asking about the Kings second round picks. The Kings don't have their 2030 second round pick, but they have all of their other second round picks. So they do have a second round pick in this year's draft. They also have 2 second round picks next year, including Portland's. Their 2030 went as part of the Chris Duarte deal. People ask, what do I think of Jaime Jaquez? Jaime Jaquez is
good player,
like baller. Yeah, he would.
Also
he would
old
be,
guy.
He would be incredible in a Kings jersey.
Yeah, he's an old guy.
What is he? 23, 22?
Yeah, an old guy relative to 18 and 19-year-olds.
Yeah, so guys like Jaime Jaquez are the ultimate like glue guys, the jack of all trades guys. Jack of all trade, master of none. He's just better than most of the others.
I second this message that's on the board right now.
Russell Hunt asked if I got to watch any practices this week. No. This week I have been here. I was at one practice I got to early in the week. But the Kings didn't practice on Wednesday. They had an abbreviated practice yesterday at 10:30. And either way, we don't get to watch any practice. We get to watch them shoot after practice.
Jaime Haka's 23.
Okay. Yeah, he's Keegan Murray age. Yeah.
An old guy.
That's who, again, if the Kings had a pick in the middle of the first round, they probably would have drafted a guy like him. I think they also really liked Chris Murray.
High floor, guys. Oh, we have to give away money too.
We do.
Yeah, we'll do that this second. You want to do that? And
No, I think I have a good way to put this in perspective.
great.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
How about 7 hours? A little over 7 hours until tip-off. Kings Pelicans tonight.
Yeah.
Smoothie King Center? Smoothie King Arena?
Smoothie King. I think it is Smoothie King Arena.
Smoothie King Arena is that definitely feels right. Hey, let's give away some money before we keep talking about this Kings Pelicans matchup tonight. This is part of the Nothing But Net $500 giveaway that has been going on all week. It will continue into next week as well. We are going to give you $500. You can enter to win $500 by entering a keyword that we are going to give you momentarily. But first, let us announce yesterday's winner of the $500. The Nothing But Net $500 giveaway. Winner for Thursday was Michael from Clovis. Congratulations to Michael from Clovis. He is $500 richer. Thanks, Alex. Shout out to D-Lo and Casey.
Now we have a huge reach to get all the way to Clovis.
Yeah. So thanks to Michael for listening. Wait, we got our guy Jay pulled up from like San Luis Obispo.
Oh, yeah.
Pulled up for our watch party and then went to the Kings Jazz game at the end of the year.
Yep.
Took Kelton, I believe.
Yeah.
This kid. Yeah, great family. Shout out to them.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, shout out to them. We got some reach, bro. And I got my buddy Sean listens in DC or Arlington or wherever he is. He's somewhere on the East Coast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We're
Clovis
we're
is all
nationwide.
the way. That's Fresno.
So I have a
right?
funny story about Clovis real quick, and then we'll talk basketball, I promise. And then
Okay.
Here, I have a Clovis story. We'll put a pin in. Today's keyword for the Nothing But Net $500 giveaway is hoop. Hoop. Basketball hoop. Hula hoop. I'm not spelling it. You don't get me to spell it. But the keyword for today is hoop. You enter that at ESPN1320.com, and you will be entered for a chance to win $500. D-Lo and KC will also be giving you a keyword later on. You can enter that. That means 2 entries. Two chances to win. They don't just see your name and go, oh, cool, they entered 2 words. Like, no, they'll see your name twice.
The password
when they do the
is
drawing.
hoop.
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 Not spelling it. If you need, Google it. Hoop. It's 4 letters, I'll tell you that much.
There it is.
It starts with an H, ends in a P, and there's 2 O's in the middle. That's all I'm giving you.
That's all you're saying. You're not saying anymore.
Love the idea of somebody listening and being like, I got nothing.
I don't know how.
Pooh? Like Winnie? Oh. Funny story about Clovis, real quick.
Okay.
So we're at the Borough Market in London, which is this huge, like, farmer's market, ostensibly, but there's like stalls with food trucks and not food trucks, but
yeah, vendors.
Food stalls. Vendors.
Yeah.
Thank you, vendors. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, just like a talk for a living. So it's this huge market. Well, as we were making our way through this market, we found this little clearing where there wasn't a lot going on because it wasn't food vendors. It was like shops. So there was like a spice shop that was nutty. There was this cheese shop, a cheesemonger there was crazy. We found this tea shop. It's called TTU. T, the number 2, and then UYOU.
Okay.
And so I wanted to get my grandmother some tea, and my wife drinks tea, so she wanted to get some. And I'm talking to the lady, and we're going, wow, this is really cool. It's like you tell them what you want, and they bag it for you back there. They like measure it out. It's a whole thing, right? Like loose leaf tea. And we're like, this is really cool. Thanks so much, for helping us out. And the lady goes, oh, where are you guys from? It sounds like you're not from here. And we're like, oh yeah, we're from San Francisco. When we're gone, that's just what we say.
Okay.
We're just San Francisco. That's ish, right? And the lady goes, oh, you're in the Bay Area. And we're like, yeah, good knowledge. And she goes, we're opening a shop near San Francisco.
Oh,
And I went, oh, awesome. Where? And she goes, Clovis.
well, that's not near San
Like,
Francisco.
that is not close. Like, oh my God.
But you don't live close to San Francisco either.
I'm
guess.
close enough. Like I'm 50 miles or whatever it is east. But that is like a 2+ hour drive.
Yeah,
to
that
get down.
seems that
Clovis
seems like
is way down there.
strange place to open a tea shop.
So I don't know their business. I don't know them.
Okay.
But I kind of wonder if they were like, hey, we want to open a shop. Where can we do it for cheap, but close to San Francisco? And they just kind of kept going out and out and out. And Clovis was like the place.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe they have family there. I don't know. But it was really jarring when she said, oh yeah, close to San Francisco. And I'm like, oh, Marin, San Rafael, maybe San Jose, like maybe it's the South Bay, Walnut Creek, maybe randomly.
Yeah.
Oakland. No.
Clovis.
Like, oh my God.
Right before my my junior year in high school, our superstar head coach at Nevada Union left and went to Clovis West High School. He was supposed to. I was freshman year, and then JV, and then I was going up to varsity, and the coach left right before that. Went to Clovis West.
Oh, that was they
were
tied
good.
De La Salle.
Yeah, they were really, really good.
They tied or beat because De La streak got snapped by Bellevue in Washington.
Okay.
And then I think that same year they either lost to Clovis West or tied them.
I don't think
it was the first time.
I don't think he's still there, but
it was the first time they had not beaten a California team in God knows how long. But anyways, team building.
Yeah, I think it's interesting the way that you were like we're trying to describe this, right? Is that most young players, they come into the NBA and like if you look at a chessboard, they like want to be the king or the queen. Like that's who they want to be, a 1A or a 1B, right? And what most of them don't realize that they're pawns. And then maybe a couple of them are rooks, and maybe one of them or two of them is a knight or a bishop. But for the most part, like of the 60 guys who are being drafted, 52 of them are probably pawns.
Yes.
And that means that you're replaceable. That means that you get put out in front of you, like you're a blocker.
And a lot of success, and a lot of the success that those guys have.
Yeah.
And this comes, I mean, you can look at just this Kings Pelicans game. Keon Ellis, I think, fits this bill.
Yeah.
I think Keegan Murray, to a lesser extent, fits this a little bit. Understanding that this was a De'Aaron Fox Domas show, and then he was going to slide into it.
Yeah.
Instead of,
and again, he can be a bishop. He can be a knight.
Yeah, no doubt. But learning where he fits in.
Yeah.
The Pelicans have a ton of guys. Jose Alvarado, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. We just basically every guy on that team has kind of come in as this. But I think the faster you learn that, and the quicker you come to grips with, oh, this is the role that best suits me. I think that's where that separates, I think, a lot of guys from success and not having success.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I think like when you come into the league, you need to figure out you got like 3 or 4 months to be who you think you can be, and if you start to show that, and a team goes, okay, they gravitate towards you, and you can understand what a team thinks of you by like who the assistants, what ranking assistant they put with you, right?
Yeah.
And if you're like again playing a bunch of 4-on-4 or 3-on-3 basketball with development staff after practice and stuff, that typically means not that they don't believe in you at all, but that you're not there yet, and that you need to be a pawn. And then if you can work your way up to being a knight or a bishop, that's fine. But you're a long way from being a rook, or you're a long way from being one of the top dogs. And as long as you can keep that understanding and just play to your strengths, be who you are, and keep getting better at the things that you do. And then whatever the team wants you to get better at, you can start peppering that in. Then just stay in your lane. You have a chance for success. But so many guys, they They've always been the best player in every team they've ever played on.
Yeah.
You know, they've been the superstar of their AAU team that may or may not have won massive tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've always been the guy.
If Keon Ellis walked into this year going, I'm either starting at point guard or I'm done.
Yeah.
He's not playing right now.
Or I need 12 shots a game.
Right. He's not playing right now.
You know, year 7, year 8, I heard Jason Thompson. You know, I'm just waiting for that moment where I get like 12 shots a game. It's like, bro,
Dog.
that moment is not coming even when you play in Turkey.
Everybody wants it, like no doubt, but
yeah,
sometimes you just got to know.
No, they didn't give you that
That's-
at Fenerbahce. You didn't get 12 shots a game. So what are we doing here? Like, understand who you are, and that's such a tough thing, especially for bad teams. For a team with a bunch of young players, it's such a hard thing to understand.
Yeah, we got one more break to hit, and then we'll take you right up to noon, where we'll hand it off to D'Lo and KC, who are doing a live show out at Sky River Casino from noon to 4. Come see us. We'll be out there. I'll be out there. James won't. James has to work. I'll be out there with D'Lo and KC. It should be a great time. Hope to see everybody there. We got one more segment coming up on ESPN 1320 Sacramento Sports Center.
Oof. It's not good. The Wizards let go of number of staff members Thursday. Interim head coach Brian Keefe and assistant David Vanderpool remain with the franchise.
Hey, hang on. I'm going to mute us for 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, we're back.
And we're back.
Oh, boy. Buckle up, guys. I have to do math.
Just throw the numbers at me.
I'm fine when I can sit and write it down. It's trying to do math on the fly on air
Oh, gotcha. I mean, you literally could throw numbers out and I can just add them in my head.
It's less like basically what I'm doing is here's the times I have. 30, 29, 30, 1, 1, 10, 29, 29, 29, 29, 29, 29, 10.
Oh.
And I have to, so what I do is I just move stuff around to make those all 30 seconds and then I get our heart out.
Okay. Cool. Oh, Jesus. Someone reportedly self-immolated outside the Manhattan courthouse where Donald Trump is trial is happening.
Oh my God. God, we still got 2 minutes. Holy smokes. 10. So I've got that'll go there. Make that 30.
Dude, seriously. This is nuts.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Wow, on the dot, huh? Cool. Who's afraid a little of me? You should be.
Our friend Chris Peterman is out there. I didn't know Peterman made the trip.
Yeah.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
No surprise the show flies by on a day like this. Huge game tonight for the Kings. They are in New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. The Pelicans have been not even a thorn, like a dagger in the Kings' side all season.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Kings are getting it out tonight. Just vibes are high, man.
Vibes are high. Yeah, I totally agree with the vibes being high.
Now, the more we have kind of gone through and we continue talking about how many players the Pelicans have who could theoretically go beat the Kings, is my worry meter up a little? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like where the Kings got a huge win the final game of the season, looked really good doing it against a terrible team that wasn't trying to win. And then the way they looked against the Warriors versus the Pelicans, who get stomped by the Lakers in the final game of the season in a game they needed to win to avoid the play-in, and then lose to that same Lakers team where they were down a bunch and then needed Zion Williamson to drag them back into the game with 40 points. And then he gets hurt.
Mm.
And I just think psychologically they're looking and going, man, like this is just not our year. It's happening again. Zion's hurt again. Brandon Ingram was hurt. He's not right. The vibes are down. Vibes are up in Sacramento. That's where I'm landing. I wish I had better analysis than that.
Okay, so I'm going to agree with you on that point right there. I totally agree that the vibes should be down with the Pelicans. The Pelicans were the 6th seed and then blew a game that they shouldn't have blown to drop to the 7th seed and then lost another game to drop to the second play-in game.
Mm.
Like they're on a very weird downward trajectory out of nowhere, like a tailspin.
Yeah.
And then you throw in again the Zion injury. I also think that there's a psychological hit here that this team specifically has to deal with. Is that they know that what you just said, that Brandon Ingram doesn't look like himself, and that Zion is done. Like the only way they get Zion back is if they make the second or third round of the playoffs. And they now know they're not going to do that. And, I know everyone in Sacramento wants to talk about just how big of a blow it is to not have Malik Monk. Well, you've had 3 weeks to figure out how to get around the fact you don't have Malik Monk. They don't have that. They just lost their most impactful. I don't know if he's their best player, but their most impactful player. Because the way that you have to defend that team when Zion is on the court is so much different than when he's not.
And that's, I think, part of the reason that that's such a big blow for them is because Malik Monk goes down. Major blow for the Kings, for sure.
Yeah, huge.
For sure.
Yeah.
But you can look at the roster and you can go, well, De'Aaron Fox is already the dude. Domantas Sabonis is an all-NBA center. Keegan Murray was a top 5 draft pick and is expected to take this step forward. So you can see, hey, you know what? The pieces are still there. With the Pelicans, maybe Zion for the full season was or wasn't their best player, but he was certainly developing into that.
Yeah.
He had been really, really excellent for them down the stretch where they're looking at it and going, all right, hey, this is all the plan is coming together. Zion Williamson is supposed to be that dude, and hey, look, he's becoming that dude. And then they lose him. And now it's like, oh, there's no contingency plan for this.
Well, not only is there no contingency, there's no time for a contingency plan.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he's gone. and 2 days later you're playing another elimination game, and you got to figure out how to manage that.
Yeah.
And other teams out there, they've seen you without him before, and you played without him before, but you've also played when the other times that you normally don't have him. Brandon Ingram is this force that, like, he's not equal to or greater than, but he's still a very tough player to defend.
Yeah.
And again, my thing with when it comes to Zion, it's not just that he's a guy who averages 23 and 6 and 4 assists or 5 assists, whatever it is. Like, it's not just that. It's that the way he does it is so forceful and so dominant that you have to shrink your entire defense to try to slow him. And if not, he's going to go for 40 every time.
Yep.
And once you shrink that defense, now Dyson Daniels gets wide open looks. Trey Murphy gets wide open looks. Herb Jones, wide open looks. And then on top of that, you've got, a guy like CJ McCollum who has an ability to create shots in a different way. So I'm not saying that they're done, because
they're definitely not.
Yeah, because I don't believe that, like, I think that they can overcome, but I also think that there is something in the back of their mind. They're dealing with something right now that's like, hey, we don't just have to battle the Kings, but on Sunday, we don't have Zion, and we're not going to have Zion that entire series, guaranteed almost. He's shot. Like, we don't have him. And where the Kings are like, man, if we can extend this thing, the longer we go, the closer we get to having Malik back. And they've already shrunk down to a 7.5 man rotation. They've already got their guys. They know who they're going to be. And, like, look at what Mike Brown did the last 2 weeks of the season. He had that core group of guys, those 6, 7, 8 guys playing on the second night of back-to-backs multiple times, playing 40-plus minutes. It's like, no, we're going for it right now. We're showing this is who we're going to be in 2 weeks. That's not what this Pelicans team is dealing with. They're now dealing with, like, oh boy, like, how do we look different? How do we change who we are?
And the Kings are learning, and this is another reason I'm confident in tonight. If this was the version of the Kings we saw early in the season, where their defense is, they'll have a couple minute stretch here and there, but for the most part, you can't rely on them to get stops. And man, if their three isn't falling, then I don't know what they've got offensively. This team has pitches now. Yeah. This team has different things it can throw at a team. When their three's not falling right, they're going to lock it up on defense. D'Lo and Casey were talking about this yesterday, that they now have guys that like to play defense.
Oh, yeah.
That enjoy getting deflections and enjoy picking pockets and enjoy getting out on the break because they just got a steal or forced a turnover, and now they're getting it inbounds real quick and going. I think they enjoy that. Whereas that wasn't the case earlier in the season. So now you're looking at a version of the Kings that is better at getting stops, just top to bottom, just flat out. They're playing better defensively. And it's not like you're looking offensively and going, God, they've suffered on that end big time. Like, points have been harder to come by, but that's the lead right now.
Yeah.
You still on the brightest stage, you still had Keegan having arguably his best game of the year, maybe second best game of the year. You still had De'Aaron Fox looking like a superstar. You still had Domantas Sabonis doing what he does night in and night out. You got contributions from Keon Ellis on both ends of the floor. You eventually got contributions from Harrison Barnes down the stretch. Like, this is a team that has just different ways that they can build a lead, maintain a lead, extend a lead, where there's not that uncertainty going into this game. The uncertainty is, hey, haven't been able to put it together against this team yet this year. Can we do it tonight? Versus the uncertainty you just talked about with New Orleans, where the vibe is like, man, Zion was our best dude and we just lost him, and BI isn't right, and Jose Alvarado not on the injury report, by the way. Zion Williamson out. If you hadn't heard, Zion Williamson not playing tonight.
I've heard that.
He's out. That's the only player on their injury report. But even if Jose Alvarado, who rolled both ankles, rolled his left ankle twice, I don't know, but he's dealing with some ankle stuff, not on the injury report, but if he's compromised at all, it's not like they have a super deep bench. I
don't know. They have
they rally around it. Maybe they look internally and go, hey, we've done this without Zion before. This is a team. We know how to beat them. We know what we need to do. Let's lock in and go do it. Maybe that's how they're looking at this. I have a hard time getting there myself.
Okay, so my rebuttal would be this. Everything you just talked about, where all of a sudden the Kings have these players that want to play defense, that are focused, the Pelicans have them too. That the guys that want steals, that's Alvarado. The guys who cherish playing defense, that's Herb Jones. Like, they also have those guys. And so that's where I have this, like, I don't know. I don't know how this thing is going to, if they can, again, if Brandon Ingram isn't a faucet and you can turn off the faucet that is CJ McCollum and Trey Murphy, you're going to win this game. Like, I'll make that prediction. Yeah. If Brandon Ingram isn't who Brandon Ingram
so
has been against you,
if their best players have bad games.
But if you can if you can slow down McCollum like what they did, again, you're not expecting Trey Murphy to pull a Klay Thompson and go 0 for 10. But
Sure.
if you can get CJ McCollum to be who Steph Curry was, where, yeah, he scored 24 points or 22 points, but 8 of 14, where you just limited who he was, man, you got a really good shot. Because I don't think they have great depth. They don't have great depth as scorers. They have length, they have athleticism, they've got guys that know roles and all that stuff, but what they don't have is that other guy who's going to go, okay, Herb Jones can hit you for 20. Yeah, he can, but I don't expect Herb to go for 30. And if he does, like, all hell broke loose.
Yeah, right. And both teams are looking at it that way. Both teams are going, hey, if this guy who typically doesn't get 30 gets 30, then hey, but that's not something I'm, like, worried about.
No,
that's not something that I go into the game going, oh, hey, because that's an outlier performance. That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
The likelihood that Jose Alvarado goes for 30 is about the same or less than the likelihood that Keon Ellis goes for 30.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my concern.
No.
My concern is what Brandon Ingram is going to do, or what CJ McCollum or Jonas Valanciunas, or like those guys. If there's an outlier performance, there's going to be an outlier performance. And we'll pull up on Monday and be like, hey, they held CJ McCollum in check. They did a great job there. Just Dyson Daniels knocked down a bunch of shots.
Mm-hmm. No, even that, like, the Alvarado, like, I think, like, you have these little matchups in this game that could actually work to your favor. I think Davion Mitchell and Alvarado is a fun matchup, right? And I think that Keon Ellis against McCollum is a fun matchup. I don't think that, the Pelicans can match up a little bit against Fox, but Fox has shown that he can get through it. Herb Jones can defend De'Aaron Fox. He can make life difficult. Dyson Daniels at least tries to do a solid job. But, this is where I think with the Kings, we're walking into this game knowing that you can write and pen probably 25 to 30 points from De'Aaron Fox and close to 20 points from Domantas Sabonis, and, probably 12 to 15 from Keegan Murray. And probably I'd even write in, I would pin in 10 points from Keon Ellis with possibility for more. And same thing for Harrison Barnes. Once you get past their top guys, like, what are you getting? We don't know what they can, again, consistently, you don't see what Herb Jones gets you on a nightly basis. Against the Kings, he scored 9 points, he scored 20, he scored like 12. Like, it's all over the board. CJ McCollum is a guy that I would pen in tonight for 25 to 30 points. I think he can come close to matching De'Aaron Fox. And so how do you get and can you slow Trey Murphy? And that, like, look, I think they got a shot here, man. I'm not trying to be, like, negative. I just like to keep it real and
no doubt.
Yeah.
And that's what, like I said, optimism is not, hey, I'm going to go put my life savings on the Kings.
Yeah.
Because all year I've said it after big wins, like, I'm not going to be bamboozled.
Yep.
I'm not. This
I
team
won't be fooled again.
Yeah, they won 46 games. They were good. They were fine. The Pelicans weren't significantly better. They were a little better record-wise.
They won 49, and if they didn't whoop up on the Kings 5 times,
if they
would have split that series.
Yeah, then this looks a little different. Yeah, I just, I'm not of the mind that, this is just a matchup that the Kings cannot overcome, that they cannot figure out. They just do not have the pieces in place to beat this Pelicans team as long as the Pelicans play a B- game. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that at all. So that's kind of where I land. Let's get to keys to victory and kind of flesh out some of this stuff that we're talking about. James Ham, your first key to victory for the Sacramento Kings tonight.
See, now you put me on the spot because we don't have printouts today, so I've got
That's
to
fine.
find
You
my
just
keys.
have a tab open.
I found it. I have a lot of tabs open.
Same.
I'm a gigantic open tab guy. Let's see. Kitchen sink. That's my first key to victory. Throw the kitchen sink. Our first two are pretty much the same. Throw the kitchen sink at CJ McCollum. Treat CJ McCollum like you treated Steph Curry.
That's it. That's literally my first key, verbatim. Don't let CJ McCollum turn into Steph Curry.
And, you do have that.
Yeah, don't let CJ McCollum turn into Steph Curry, and you do that by turning him into Steph Curry.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Treat him like you would Steph Curry.
Yes. Follow him around. That
pick him up at half court. Don't let some
That was one of the things that the Kings did the other night to Steph that they need to do to McCollum. When he is off the ball, you stick with him. If he's going to pass the ball to the right wing and then walk to the left corner, you're following him there.
Mm-hmm.
If he then tries to go baseline, you're following him there. You might have to fight through a couple of screens to do it, but just whoever is guarding CJ McCollum just doesn't leave him.
Now, you said something in the build-up to the game the other day that I thought was really interesting. It's that Steph Curry, the first time he plays somebody, he's not familiar with defensively. That's a good defender. He usually struggles a bit. That's the one advantage that CJ has, that he has played more games against Keon than most people have.
That's a good point.
But I still think Keon, the way he played the other night, if he can do that again, all right, game on.
If he can do the Neo thing.
Yeah.
That was nuts, dude.
I put that video
Mike Brown
out
was
yesterday.
so happy. Mike Brown was so happy to win that game. He was so elated in his post game.
Yeah.
He was fired up. That was great. I enjoyed it. What's number 2 for you?
Play the other guy straight up. Don't leave Herb Jones. Don't leave Trey Murphy. You can leave Dyson Daniels to go help off McCollum, but the rest of this, have Sabonis push Valanciunas out. This can be a man-on-man defense, and I think you're switchable with these guys. I think you can handle most of their offensive weapons, except for CJ, and if Brandon Ingram is Brandon Ingram. But again, I don't believe he will be.
Yeah, man. I don't have any reason to believe that he's going to pop off for 30 plus tonight. He's talented enough to do it, but just when you look at the history of Brandon Ingram, particularly the last couple nights, it doesn't look like that's in the cards. Number 2 for me is Keegan Murray. They got to get him going early. They have to put him in a spot like they did against Golden State, where they are. He said the first play was set for him. Run that again. Do it until they stop it. Give him the confidence and the runway. And I know they tell him all the time, but I don't think telling Keegan, hey, go shoot it is enough. I think they need to give him that runway to not only be really good in the first quarter, but to be really good in the third quarter and really good in the fourth quarter. I think he only took 2 shots in the second quarter, but to be excellent down the stretch, I think he will do that as long as they give him that runway early in the game.
I'd even add this to your point there. Make them move Herb Jones over to Keegan.
Yes.
If you can do that, then Fox gets loose. But if you can't do that, if Keegan is timid, if he's not on top of things, then it allows them to use their best defender, which is Herb, over on your best offensive weapon, which just makes life more difficult.
10 first half shots for Keegan is what I need.
Yeah.
If he has a first half where he shoots it 4, 5, 6 times, I don't think you're going to see him in the game with 20 shots, which is where I would like him to be. Number 3 for you.
Hit your threes.
It's a big one.
Look, this team, when they hit their threes, they're just unstoppable. And again, this is a team that's long. They're athletic. Don't make it all about getting to the basket. The spray 3, yes, but if you start hitting your threes, if you cook from three, if Keon Ellis cooks, if Davion Mitchell cooks, if Trey Lyles cooks, if De'Aaron Fox comes out popping and hitting his 3-point shot, they're really tough to. And for that matter, like Harrison Barnes, man, step up and hit your threes, like be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this team can be really, really tough to defend.
Along with that, just a side note, this isn't Mikey, but take the threes.
Take them.
If it's open, if it's there, don't start swinging an extra pass. Don't start, dude. If you're open, bombs away, man. Number 3 for me is in an MVP performance from De'Aaron. This cannot be a passive De'Aaron game where he has 18 points and he had 7 assists and 8 rebounds. Like, no, man. I need him to pick his spots like he did against Golden State. He wasn't top to bottom 48 minutes electric offensively, but he picked his spots. I think third quarter he had 14 points.
Yeah, something like that.
Helped after Golden State chipped away at that lead and got it down to 1. Helped extend that lead back out.
Mm-hmm.
Picked his spots. I thought that was a MVP caliber performance from De'Aaron on Tuesday, and I think you need another one tonight.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
He's got to be the best player on the court.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the offense that they played against them last week. 54.8% from the field, 42.1%. That's what the Kings shot.
Mm-hmm.
And you take Zion out of their offense, I don't think that they're going to be that. They're not going to match that.
I think they're winning. I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Have I talked to him?
No. Straight up.
What if I've told you I've bet a large sum of money on the Pelicans?
I'd call you Jonte.
I haven't. I have not done that. I have not done that. All right. We got to get out of here. Hope to see everybody out at Sky River Casino inside. It's going to be at 32 Brew Street inside Sky River Casino. D'Lo and Casey out there for a live show from noon to 4. Hope to see everybody hanging out there. Going to be the best place to get ready for this Kings-Pelicans game. You're not going to want to miss it. Hope to see you there. Sky River Casino on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. We've been the Insiders. For James Ham, I'm Kyle Madsen. Woo! See you, gang. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Hope to see people out at Sky River. If you see me, come say what's up.
I don't know what happened on the stream because you guys are all talking crazy.
Wait, what?
I don't know what happened. It's like a song.
Oh, I think I know what happened. All right, we gotta go.
Today. Hey,
what's up, guys?
Today. Come on, man. This one. Check.
Appreciate you, Hammer. Yeah, buddy. We're gonna try. Try a couple of things different here today. Can y'all hear us all right out there? Yeah, we monitoring things a little different up here. We're gonna try that at like 12:15, I think. We'll probably have to adjust the screen and go widescreen because I don't think you'll be able to. We'll figure it out. Chatty House, what's good, baby?
Chatty House, what up, though? We got some of the Chatty House in the building. I see you, Zay. I see you, Jazz. I see you, Dr. David. I see you, Manny. Oh, I love this. Not top 10.
Yeah, game day, baby, game day.
Oh, man.
Game day, baby. Yeah, Casey ain't gonna tell you where he got the shirt from.
Oh, this one. No, I think no.
I
That's cap.
don't even know where I
I
got it from.
told like Tyler Jennings that somebody got one. Y'all gotta go back and. I think it was Tyler. I told somebody where it was. They got one. I forgot where it's at now. I think it's on my shirt. Artistic something.
I feel like I hear myself great, but I can't hear you.
Huh?
I can't hear you very well.
I can hear better, but I can't hear through here.
You can't hear me through there? You don't have me? Oh, you got both of us?
You can't hear me?
Huh? We're not missing anything. Yeah, can I get a little more levels for him in my headphones? Okay.
Check,
Yeah,
check.
a little. Yeah. Drew Down, what up, boy? I see you. Tyler, Isaac, what's happening? We got a little bit of a different setup so we can see you guys in there securing the bag. We're good. Huh? We're live. We're live at Sky River Casino, baby. We here. We're here. We're here.
Yeah. Let's go.
What's good, baby? It is game day. Y'all know what it is. Appreciate y'all so much for tapping in, man. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. We welcome those listening on the Odyssey app on 1320 AM, 98.5 FM HD2. Voice still struggling, but it's game day, man. We pushing through.
I'm charged up, man.
We pushing through.
I'm charged up, man. Hey, look, Mike Brown, put me on the PJ right now, man. I'll get out there. I'll give a hard foul. I'll hit a three. It's whatever, man. Whatever y'all need. Whatever they need today to get to the playoffs. That's Mando. I need that. I need that. Let's go. Let's go.
The Sacramento Kings can erase 82 games of frustration with one more win. No more talk about Charlotte. No more talk about Detroit. No more talk about Portland or Washington. No more blown leads. No more none of that. One win erases all of that.
The only thing that matters is today, man. That's the only thing that matters. Not any of those games and those moments that we just talked about. Not the 5 times you played New Orleans before. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is how you perform, how you execute.